I mean, I've known her for three years.
I'm assuming this was an intimate relationship.
Yes, we did have an intimate relationship one time, yes.
Okay. So I'm telling you, call it out across the board, right? I'm telling you, yeah, we know he was the head coach. He shouldn't have been having an affair. He had a family. He was married, yada, yada, yada. We know all that, right? Let's talk about her part, though. Call it out across the board, right? She was well aware he was a head coach. She knew he had a family. She knew he was married. She was well aware. She played a part in it too. She could have shot it down. She could have told him, no, I'm not having an affair with you. Go work on your marriage.
Happened, and I was done with it. I wanted to let her go.
He says he was done with it. He wanted to let her go. What did I tell y'all? What he's going to say confirms everything I suspected from that Paige girl. This is why I gave Paige more attention than I did him. That national title was not all it was cracked up to be. I really did not think that they wanted to keep Sherrone Moore to begin with. Be aware that you are not exempt from having mental health trouble at any given time. I have the Sherrone Moore body cam, y'all, and this is good. Here we go with this because I just seen this released today.
This is newly released body cam video of former Michigan football coach Sherrone Moore being arrested in the hours after he was fired from one of the top jobs in all of sports.
Can you explain to us what happened today?
Yeah, I went there. I got fired today.
What Moore told police as he sits handcuffed, emotional, in the back of a police cruiser.
I'm trying not to cry with you.
And the
now,
moment
this is really difficult. We're definitely going to have a little bit of a discussion on mental health through this video, so just be aware of that. But it gets deep, y'all. And everything that I speculated, what I speculated about Paige, y'all know how I felt about Paige. I said, I get why we're going after Sherrone, but we need to focus on her part in this with Paige, because I was like, she played a bigger part in this, and people are not giving that as much attention as they should. And I get that he was a head football coach of Michigan, so that's why he got all the attention from this. But the focus should have been on that Paige girl, I'm telling you.
Brought an officer arresting him on the verge of tears. I think back to the night of December 10th, 2025, and it was one of the more shocking stories I've ever seen play out in the world of college football.
Now, I will be taking many pause breaks in between this video because of fair use. I have to give as much commentary throughout the video as I can for it to be considered fair use. So when you see me pausing it, giving my thoughts constantly, that's part of the reason why I'm not letting it play out all the way through.
Much of this has nothing to do with sports. First, though, you had the news that Michigan was firing their head coach, Sherrone Moore. Then it came out that he was being fired because the university found that he had an inappropriate relationship with a female staff member. But then this story took a very dark turn.
We'll find out that, I believe it's near the end, because I did watch this prior, but I believe it's near the end at some point that it's revealed that they knew, that Michigan knew about this affair, which that's what was reported on previously. But I think that's being confirmed now.
And news started to come out that something was going terribly wrong.
All right. So, do you want your feet in or do you want to hang like that?
I like this.
Okay. All right. So what's going on today, man? I'm sorry to hear that.
That's part of life. I get it.
Well,
Sometimes they wanted to fire me anyway, so
sometimes stuff happens, you know what I mean?
And CDT, here's another thing too. Like I said before, everything I said about that Paige girl, you're going to find out that I was right. She played a big part in this man losing his job. And I blame more of it on her than I do him. Because it's like I said time and time again, these women have to know what they're getting themselves into. This goes for the main chicks, the side chicks, all of them. They got to know what they're getting involved with, because it's bound to happen when you are in that type of position. You're always on the road. Workplace affairs happen all the time. So, with athletes or with a head coach, it's bound to happen that affairs are going to occur. It's not a surprise. And Paige, she was she's grown. She should have known. I believe she did know. She was well aware of her actions. She played a part in this.
No, did you just...
Now you can see in this body camera video that we just received.
Oscar, glad to have you here. But thank you for that kind compliment. Chelsea, you have a great people on your chat. Thank you for accepting me into your chat and meeting and making new acquaintances, I think is what you mean. But yeah, I'm excited that we networked our way and we're building something. It's great.
Still wearing his jacket from what was very freshly his former job. That jacket with the M logo on it, synonymous with the University of Michigan. This is playing out around 5:40 in the evening in Saline, Michigan. Moore was just fired within hours of all of this.
Always a bad idea. I think I almost named CDT. I think I almost titled the video. What did I almost? Something with like workplace affairs leads to crimes or something like that. Or sports workplace affairs leads to crimes, because we've seen it with Bobby Petrino. Obviously, it didn't happen with Mike and Diana, but it is going to impact their careers to some degree, I'm sure. And then now we're, reacting to this. But it's always a bad idea. Always.
Get to new video where you will actually hear Sherrone Moore, as all of this is playing out, explaining to police what he says happened that night. I want to remind you of this story and why it is truly one of the more dramatic and sad downfalls we've seen perhaps ever in sports. So December 10th, earlier that day, the University of Michigan fired Sherrone Moore as their head coach. He was the head coach of the Wolverines for the 2024 and 2025 football season. Now, Michigan under Sherrone Moore, they were solid. They beat Ohio State one of the 2 years he was there. They're their big rival. But things weren't exactly at the level that they were in 2023 when the team actually went on to win the national title.
Y'all already know 3 a.m. made me rant about this Jim Harbaugh. That national title was not all it was cracked up to be. Jim Harbaugh had his own scandals. Jim Harbaugh was on the hot seat. He was on the verge of being fired. And I said it before and I'll say it again. He was like, well, I'm already on the hot seat, so I'm just going to cheat my way to a national championship. And that's what he did. It later was revealed that they cheated. There was a lot of scandals with that. And the Michigan State Wolverines football team got fined. They also got hit with restrictions on recruitment. And then Jim Harbaugh had a 10-year show cause put on him, which means that Jim Harbaugh cannot coach in college football for 10 years. So if he was to get fired from his NFL job, he cannot come back to college football until that show cause is up. So there's that. But I had all my thoughts on Michigan. Like, I really did not think that they wanted to keep Sherrone Moore to begin with, because Sherrone was under Jim Harbaugh, and after all those scandals came out and they got punished, I don't think they wanted to keep him to begin with.
Prior to Sherrone Moore's firing, Michigan lost to their rival Ohio State for the first time in 4 years.
I think that's really what did him in, is losing to Ohio State. It was said that Michigan knew about this affair. So I think that's really that's what played the part in him being fired.
And that's a big deal. If you follow college football, you know that. Now, at this point, though, right after that Ohio State loss, you could say things in terms of the University of Michigan football program. They were fine, not great, but they were fine. And it seemed like they were fine enough that Moore was going to be the head coach of Michigan for at least another season. And that's what made the announcement of his firing on the 10th such a bombshell.
I disagree with that. I did not think for 1 second that they wanted him to be there for another season. And I said this before. Y'all heard me say this. I think I even said this before the scandal even got released on the cheating, that I do not think they wanted to keep him. I think they wanted a clean house after what happened under Jim Harbaugh and then getting hit with all those fines.
Out of nowhere, the school then said that he was being fired because they did an investigation and they found he had an inappropriate relationship with a female staffer, his executive assistant of a couple of years. And you'll hear Moore admit that to police officers in body cam video in just a moment. And for as shocking as this story was, it was the headline of the day in the sports world. The news broke shortly after that Sherrone Moore was potentially having a mental health crisis. A 911 call came in from Sherrone Moore's wife. Here is that audio.
Now, y'all, this is heartbreaking. This is very heartbreaking. I think you can even hear, this is what got me, is I think you can hear one of the babies in the background when she's calling, panicked over her husband. So this is very difficult. Like I said, we'll probably get into some mental health with this because it's very real. And I don't think this man should be shamed the way he has been, because workplace affairs happen all the time. This even happened to David in the Bible. David had an affair and he was still called a man after God's own heart, right? So I don't think he should be ridiculed the way he has been, considering these things happen all the time. I just think it's unfair treatment, in my opinion. And I think it has more, like I said before, I think it has more to do with Paige than it does him.
Where's your emergency? My husband, I'm worried that my husband's going to hurt himself. And I need you, can you track his phone? Okay, why do you think he's trying to hurt himself? Because he said that to me. Okay, what did he say specifically? He said he's trying to kill himself.
So good on her. Good. I mean, my heart goes out to that wife of his, because not only do you have kids together, but then, you're dealing with your husband's mental health on top of all of this. That's really extremely difficult. But I'm just glad that she could have been petty in a way, right? Because she could have said, well, he got fired from his job. He had an affair. He brought this on himself, and she could have just left it alone and let him go off and do whatever. But she, good on her for reaching out to the police and getting on top of this.
Okay. Where is he? I don't have a clue. Where was he? He got fired from his job, and he's in crisis. He's in crisis, and I told him that I love him and that I need him to come home, but I don't know where he is. He said he was on a highway.
Then his wife says the name of the person so many people in that community, the sports world, and the state of Michigan know very well.
Where does he work? He works at University of Michigan. Okay. Where specifically? Do you know, like at the hospital or at the school? South State Street. No, the football. Tim Beckler Hall, 1200 South State Street. His name is Sherrone Moores.
But that wasn't the only person who called 911 on December 10th, allegedly about Sherrone Moore. There's another call that came in from a person who identified herself as the attorney for Moore's now former executive assistant, the woman who had an inappropriate relationship with Moore that was at the center of his firing. She apparently called her attorney, who then calls 911, and here's that audio.
So the attorney for Paige called 911 as well. I didn't know this part. I didn't realize this part.
Client, they just left her there. She was just been attacked by a man that we reported for harassing her to the University of Michigan. A man who was in her house with knives. His name is Sherrone Moores. He is the U of M football coach. He was just there attacking her and threatening her. She was on the phone crying with me, please get there right now.
So police were rushing to an apartment complex off campus.
Did you know she's injured at all? No, I don't think so. She's in her house. I got her locked the door. She called me and was screaming. And she was, what is her phone number? What's your phone number? Mine or hers? Hers. Her phone number. Oh, Mr. Moore? Yes, he's been harassing her for years.
Harassing her for years. I don't think that's necessarily true.
Office of the University of Michigan reported him. They offered us security, but she was supposed to be down already, attacking her car and putting her things in when he approached her and tried to attack her. They know what is going on with him, and they're looking for him, I believe. I have been calling the general counsel's cell phone.
He allegedly tried to take his own life, they wrote, with a butter knife. Now, this is the moment that police track Moore down in his SUV. He's in a parking lot, and officers approach the vehicle. You can see they have guns drawn, and you can hear police yelling out commands. And I'll remind you, this happened just hours after he was fired from leading the University of Michigan football team. This is just a surreal scene to watch.
Now, you can really tell in this that he's having some mental health problems, like extremely depressed. I mean, I'm not a psychiatrist, so I'm not certified, but you could just tell, like, he's down bad, right? Like, he just got fired. He's dealing with his ex side chick on top of having a family. There's just a lot going on, so it's understandable why he's in this headspace. But y'all, this is why I encourage y'all to get into therapy. Be on top of your mental health. It doesn't matter if you think you're the healthiest person in the world. Everyone needs therapy, especially men. Okay? So just because you go to the gym, just because you have a nutritious lifestyle, does not mean that you need to skip out on therapy and being on top of your mental health.
Stay right there. We're going to come to you, all right? We're here to help you, all right? Put your hands out the window. Nope, leave it open. Put your hands up. You're not in trouble. We're here to help you, man. Don't bring back. You're good. I'm just going to pass you down, okay? You're not in trouble.
We're secure without with them.
Security, let me look at you.
Go ahead, put the
Apron.
Okay, you're not going to jail. We're not going to jail. We are going to retain you.
First traffic lifted on Metro East.
I got an awful shoulder. It hurts so bad.
How about we use two pairs, okay? We'll give you a little more extra room, sir. What's your wife's name? Kelly, when's she going to be driving?
There isn't already one.
Okay, what color?
I don't know.
Okay, all right.
Call from my phone.
Is it?
Make sure it's in my car. You can get
Can I go in your car, sir? Okay.
Can we walk back to my car?
Can I turn your car off, sir? Okay.
So Moore comes out of his SUV peacefully. He's handcuffed. He seems to be cooperative. And this is when officers load him into the back of a squad car. And you can see Sherrone Moore is incredibly emotional.
Okay, so Willie, I'll just go ahead and tell you right now. I don't hate on men who cry. This man just went through a very emotional time. So I don't hate on men who cry. Because men are going to cry too. Men experience emotional distress at different times too, and I don't think they should be ashamed for that. This situation, this is different. Like, I understand why he's having difficulty regulating his emotions because he just went through something traumatic, right? But men, I don't hate on men if they cry, especially if it's something traumatic of what just happened to him.
Hang on, real quick. So, do you want me to, you want me to call you Mr. Moore or Sherrone or
Whatever.
Okay, so is Sherrone okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, in addition to that, we have some criminal charges for unlawful entry and assault. So,
To all the charges that are getting brought up, but what he says, y'all, what he's going to say confirms everything I suspected from that Paige girl. This is why I gave Paige more attention than I did him.
I was, I know, just hang on. I was not there. Officer Escobar was there. He talked correct. So we went to the condo after she called us. I, again, was not there. So Officer Escobar kind of has that side of the story. So before we do anything, like I said, you're under arrest for those charges. We have I understand.
Anybody.
Hang on.
She's
So,
in my life, man.
hang on. I get it, man. It's stressful. I can't put myself in your place. Just real quick.
In my life right now.
Before you answer any questions or make any statements, Miss will understand your rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to talk with a lawyer and have him present while being questioned. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before any question needed if you wish. You can decide at any time to exercise these rights, not answer any questions or make any statements. Do you understand each of these rights as I have explained them to you? So, again, we just have her statements. I was not there. I didn't talk to her. Officer Escobar was. Having that in mind and having these rights in mind, do you wish to talk to us now?
Yeah.
Okay. So, like I said, I wasn't there. Officer Escobar was. We got a call
So
from...
he agreed to talk to him. I'm not a big fan of that, but he agreed to talk to him.
You were at the house and you weren't supposed to be there. Can you explain to us what happened today?
Yeah, I went there. I got fired today. And I know exactly what happened. So I got fired because of a relationship with her, unfortunately, outside of my marriage.
He's admitting to the affair.
Happened, and I was done with it. I wanted to let her go.
He says he was done with it. He wanted to let her go. What did I tell y'all? What did I tell y'all before? A while back when I was covering this. What did I tell y'all? I said that girl was probably upset. He probably wanted to end it, and she was not okay with that. So she got petty, and she was going to report the affair. And I believe him too. I believe him. This is why he's so upset.
Couldn't, because she told me she would sue me.
She told me she would sue me. What? I called it. I told y'all. The hate on Sherrone Moore needed to stop because that girl played a bigger part than what people realize. I get being critical of him because, yes, he was the head coach. He shouldn't have been having an affair. I get all that, right? No question. But we needed to focus on her part in this. Because I told y'all she played a part. She played a part in it too. It's not just him. Yeah, and like I said, he put himself in that position. And I get that he's the head coach, right? I get all that. But she played a part in it too. We can't just focus on one side. That's hypocritical. That's a double standard.
I did not fire her, and she was my assistant. So this goes on. This happened a while ago. It's done. There's an investigation about a whole bunch of other stuff, about other women, other people, which never happened.
So he was accused of having, I guess, relationships with other girls as well. I mean, that's neither here nor there. But like I said before, workplace affairs happen all the time. And I've said it time and time again that these athletes, these coaches, that's no surprise. It happens all the time. And these women that get involved, whether you're the side chick or the main chick, you got to be aware of that happening.
I get fired. I go to her place, to her house. I did not touch her. I did not put a hand on her. I did not assault her and do anything to harm her whatsoever. I got mad, and then I yelled, but I did not touch her in any way, shape, or form. And then I walked out, and I got in my car, and I drove off, and that's where you guys found me.
Okay.
And there's no one ever told me not to go over there. There was not like, hey, don't go see her, don't see this, because I hadn't seen her in 2 days.
So previously there was an investigation with the school, and like because of her.
Let's get this clear, Willie. Let's get this clear right now. I'm not condoning an affair. I said I get why there's criticism on Sherrone, right? He was a head coach. He was in a high position. He was in charge of these athletes who were looking to him as a role model. He has a family. I get the criticism. But the same criticism for him needs to be said about her as well. We can't just have it one-sided here. We can't just focus on his part. We got to focus on her part as well. That's what I don't like. If you're going to call it out across the board. It can't just be on Sherrone Moore. We got to call out her behavior as well. That's what I'm not cool with.
In your position.
Yeah.
You ended up getting terminated today.
Yes.
You had that meeting with Ward.
Yes.
And then after that meeting is when you, did you have any contact with her after the meeting, or did you just drive over to her?
I tried to call her.
Okay. So tried to call her when you showed in your position.
Yeah.
You ended up getting terminated today.
Yes.
You had that meeting with Ward.
Yes.
And then after that meeting is when you, did you have any contact with her after the meeting, or did you just drive over to her?
I tried to call her.
Okay. So tried to call her when you show up
Now,
at the house.
here's another thing too that I will add. I will add this. So I'm telling you, call it out across the board, right? I'm telling you, yeah, we know he was the head coach. He shouldn't have been having an affair. He had a family. He was married, yada, yada, yada. We know all that, right? Let's talk about her part, though. Call it out across the board, right? She was well aware he was a head coach, a black head coach at that, right? There was not many in the college football head coaches that were black. So she knew he was a head coach. She knew he had a family. She knew he was married. She was well aware. She played a part in it too. She could have shot it down. She could have told him, no, I'm not having an affair with you. Go work on your marriage. And if that doesn't work out, then hit me up later on after you're divorced. But work on your marriage before you come talking to me. She could have told him that, and she didn't. So let's talk about her part.
She's right in the kitchen.
Okay.
And then she walks away.
Here's a question I have for you. How did you get into the house?
The door was open.
Okay. So just showed up at the house.
Tiffany, you're hilarious. You already said it. You don't have to explain yourself to these people. Truth.
Went in, do you have keys to the house?
No, the door was just open. Okay. I knocked on the door and the door was open.
Okay, so walk into the house and you find her in the kitchen.
Yes.
So conversation that takes place in the kitchen.
That's why this story is different. Thank you for acknowledging that part as well.
Just what is going on? What is going on? And she says,
He already had agreed to talk to the cops. I'm not a fan of that, but he had already agreed. After they read him his rights, they asked, do you want to continue talking? And he said, yeah, he was fine with talking. So that's why he talked. But I will say he did great. All he did was explain the situation and what happened. And we'll later learn what ended up being of this case because he got the better end of the deal in this case.
oh, you're not supposed to be here. I said, what? You're not supposed to be here. I said, why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me? Are you trying to ruin my life? And then she says, you have to leave. Get away. I'm calling the cops.
Oh, okay. So, Oscar, you're asking if she was married. No. Paige Shivers. Okay, so for those of you who don't know about Paige Shivers, I did a live on this before. I think I have a video on this as well. But a little rundown on Paige. Paige actually has connections in the football world. Her dad was, I think he's still there, to be honest with you. But her dad is an NFL scout for the Chicago Bears. So she has connections in the football world. But no, she was not married. She was young. She was single.
So I don't know what her kitchen looks like.
I can describe it exactly. So she lives in. So I walk in the house. There's a kitchen which is connected to the living room. And there's a bar, like
an island.
Like an island.
Okay.
She's right there, and she walks away, and she goes to the living room spot. And I don't get anywhere. I'm not even this close to her. I stay away from her because I don't want any physical. I never touch a woman ever in my life. Ever. I would never do that. I have so much respect. I have 3 girls. I then leave after that. After we have that conversation, I leave. I didn't touch her. I didn't do anything besides we yelled at each other. But I did not touch her. I did not assault her.
So all verbal?
All verbal, 100%.
Were there any threats made to her?
No, absolutely not.
Understanding the circumstances, was there anything along the lines of because of what she did, there's going to be any type of...
No, absolutely not.
So basically what you're saying is the conversation you had was, why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing
Yes.
this? And what was she saying back to you?
She's just saying, leave. Like, you don't need to be here. I don't want to see you. You don't need to be here. I don't want to see you. You can't be here. And then that's when I got mad, but I did not go anywhere near her. I didn't cross the island. I didn't do anything to her. I did not touch her. I did not ever physically put my hands on any woman, period. And I left.
So when she walks away from the island, you're on the opposite side of it.
Yes, sir.
She goes into like a living room area.
Her living room area. And then she gets on her phone.
And you didn't block her way,
No,
didn't get in her way. She walks away. You stayed in the kitchen.
In the kitchen.
Okay. So like, because there is a relationship that took place, I don't know what your relationship. I don't need to get into your personal life. How long was this relationship for?
I mean, she's been my assistant for 2 years.
I said I don't need to get into your relationship, but how long was this going on? Which is it? Do you want me to talk about the relationship or keep my mouth shut about it? I thought that was funny.
I mean, I've known her for three years.
And then these are legal questions as far as like the circumstances. This is not me trying to pry into your personal life. Was this? I'm assuming this was an intimate relationship.
Yes, we did have an intimate relationship one time. Yes.
Okay. So a practice.
But it wasn't multiple, like 2 years throughout 2 years. It wasn't like that.
Okay. So she told us and talked to Officer Escobar. She said that while you were in the kitchen, you removed 2 like butter knives.
That's why, and then I left.
So
that's exactly what. Like, I left the butter knives. I grabbed this and
Well,
I left.
Vinny, we'll talk more about it later, but he did get the better end of the deal. So he didn't get in as much trouble as what that girl probably thought she was going to get him in.
But I went right into I went into my car.
So you only took the butter knives out? Was there any other type of knife you pulled out?
That's it.
And what did you say to her when you had those knives? Did you say anything along the lines of, my blood is on your hands, or my blood is your blood? Or
No, I did not tell her that, no.
Okay. You just said that. Okay. And then did you pick up any other knives that were in the kitchen?
No.
Okay. Which knife did you?
The butter knife.
Okay. So just a butter knife. And then...
Well, I had the scissors. The scissors were in my car.
Yeah.
So that's what I had, the scissors. But I did not hold anything to her, or touch her, or anything like that. And that's when I drove off. That's when I left. I drove and I was going to harm myself.
So, did you...
So you hear what Moore is alleging happened that evening on December 10th. Now, before he spoke to police in the back of that cruiser, and it's kind of just a sad scene to watch when you think of the downfall that's playing out here. He's just sitting back there by himself. And before he speaks to police, there is another person, seems to be a friend or someone he's close with, who's able to go into the police cruiser to console him. Watch this.
I mean, I get why he was distraught, right? Like, if I was in those shoes and I had did exactly what he had did, I would be disappointed. I would be feeling some type of way, disappointment in myself. There's so much that plays into this, right? Because he was in charge of a football team. There was men that looked up to him. He has a family. So many things.
Hey, Coach. Hey. How we doing? Okay. Talk to him. We got you, though. I know. I absolutely know.
Man, never wanted me here, man. I worked so hard.
I know you do.
I put everything into this place. I never wanted me here.
I'm sorry.
Sleep, man. I haven't slept in a month.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult. It's definitely a difficult watch. Like seeing someone struggle with mental health like this. But I hope him and his family are doing better. And I hope he gets another coaching opportunity.
One negative attorney, negative.
We still got love for you. All right.
Now, this can happen to any man, right? Anybody. This can happen to anybody. Like, you can get some devastating, traumatic news, and it puts your mental health in shambles. Like, this could happen to anybody at any given time. It doesn't matter if you're the healthiest person in the world. So just keep that in mind. Like, be aware that you are not exempt from having mental health trouble at any given time.
It's going to require some more work right now. Go ahead. What? They tell you what's going to go on? What has to happen tonight?
Moore is then brought into the hospital to be checked out. The police have redacted the visuals of what happened inside the hospital, but there is still audio of the conversations he has with officers. And that's
So
when
they
we see
redacted the visuals, right? So it's blurred, but you still hear the audio.
truly a shocking moment that plays out here, because the police officer, and it appears to be the same officer who is questioning Moore about what happened in the back of the police cruiser, it seems like he's trying to level with the coach in the hospital room, and the officer starts to tear up.
So, I miss Moore. So, I'm gonna leave. I'm leaving here with Officer Escobar and Sergeant Gasway, all right? So, like I said, we can't relate, right? Like, but like I told you before, like, so like I'm trying not to cry with you, but like,
Heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking. This is why I'm not as harsh on Sherrone as what other people are. Because like Prince Bud said, this is proof we're all human and we all make mistakes. And I talked about it before, whether you're a believer or you're not, but from the Bible, like David, he was someone who cheated and God still used him. God still said he was a man after God's own heart, right? So I really just want Sherrone to know that, and I'm hoping that that's what he realizes now, that just because you go through something like that you make mistakes, it's not the end, that there's still hope for you. I still think that he deserves another shot in coaching. Obviously, not as a head coach, but just a small role, like whether it's up in a booth or if it's as an offensive or as a coordinator. I think, was he a defensive coordinator? I can't remember now. But, as a coordinator, some type of role, right? This should not be the end for him, because it wasn't for Bobby Petrino. I told y'all the Bobby Petrino story. Bobby Petrino got another shot. I think he deserves it as well.
all you have to get through this for, right? Like, that's all that matters in the situation. So whatever help you need to get the help, and then let everything else work itself out. So, all right. Do you have any questions for me before I leave? All right, man. Well, good luck. Take care. Do you want to get rid of the cuffs?
Just give them back to you later.
That's fine. Throw them in the box. You said you discharged the one?
Yeah.
So, all right. Thank you. Anything else for me? All right. I'm moving my car.
Okay. You get out of here.
Sherrone Moore was charged with third-degree home invasion, stalking, and entering without permission. He was arraigned on those charges.
The interesting thing with the entering without permission, right? There was a lot of little things that they left out in this, and this is why he didn't get in as much serious trouble as what she probably thought she was going to get him in. I'm telling y'all, like I called it before, Paige was bitter. She didn't want the relationship to end. He was trying to end it. So she got petty. I think she was the one who reported the affair. She's the one that got him fired. And then all of this transpired. And then she tried to get charges pressed on him. She knew what she was doing. And like I said before, she was aware he was married. She was aware he was the head coach. She could have told him no. Even if, I don't know who made moves on who first, right? But she could have told him no. She could have said, hey, you're married. I don't want no business in that. Go the other way. But she didn't. And then she got hurt whenever he wanted to end it, and she did all that.
After he was arrested in December. Then, fast forward to March 6th, Moore reaches a plea deal with prosecutors in Michigan. He pleaded no contest to 2 lesser charges: malicious use of a telecommunications device in a domestic relationship and trespassing. So those are misdemeanors, and as part of this deal, prosecutors are dropping the more serious charges that he faced. Now, according to reports, Moore is not expected to serve time in prison, or less than the 5 years, if he was convicted of the charges he was initially hit with. Moore will be sentenced on April 14th.
What day is it?
Now,
his sentencing is 4 days. 4 days and we'll know his sentencing. They had to drop some of those charges. So this is why he didn't get in as much trouble as what she was probably thinking he was going to get in. And he's probably not going to get jail time either, which I think is what's fair. I don't think he deserves jail time for that. Evil work on her part, to be honest with you, because you participated. You're the one that knew he was married. You're the one that knew all this about him, and yet you still chose to have an affair with him. It's your own fault, Paige. It's your own fault. And then you're on top of that. Not only did you have an affair with a married man, but you are also responsible for taking down a head coach. You are a grown adult, knowing he was married and knowing that you could have told him no. You put this man's career at risk, all because you couldn't say no. Now, I'm not excusing his part either, right? He could have told her no too. He was married. It goes both ways. But I'm not excusing what Paige did either here. Okay, so that is going to be it for today's show. I covered Bobby Petrino's affair, covered the speculation, which, I mean, I'm pretty sure we know what was going on between Mike and Diana. And then we got into the body cam of Sherrone Moore. Y'all, stay on top of your mental health, especially the men.
I know that last night we let the liquor talk, but baby, something's telling me this ain't over yet.